Hello again, guys. It's your boy Charlie, and he's back again. And he's back again for your viewing pleasure, bringing you probably the best affordable summer dive watch out there, which is a Vostok Amphibia 420372. But why now, you ask? Well, it's easy. Somewhere on planet Earth, it's summer. You know, one person's winter is another person's summer. So, hey. Okay, so I'm not gonna hold you guys back. A couple of words about the brand. Vostok, meaning east in Russian, was a Moscow watch factory which was evacuated in the Second World War to Tatarstan, which is a federal subject of Russia. And as you can see on the map, it's quite far away from Germany. So yeah, it was taken to Chistopol city, which is a city in Tatarstan. First, they produced measuring devices, then they produced wristwatches for the Soviet military. Now, going a bit forward in time, we arrive at the 60s when Vostok, in order to compete with the Swiss, came up with an interesting idea for the case design, of which I'm going to be talking about a bit later. An interesting design which, when subjected to pressure, became more and more watertight. But more on this case design a bit later. Two designs were made. First, Komandirsky, and then Amphibia. Komandirsky, which is like a generic field watch, and Amphibia being the dive version. Pretty much the two designs are very similar. They do share parts, and they also share movement as well. But Vostok became a cult classic with its retro design and quirky dials, of which I'm guessing nowadays they're not going to be such a fad anymore. With dials like KGB and recently sunk Moscow cruiser battleship. Not exactly sure. But you know what, Vostok? You do you. You haven't changed your design for 60 years, so why do it now? Just leave it. But the reason why this watch caught my eye. Come a bit closer, comrade. You remember the story with the Russian president starting a nuclear war, right? Whole civilizations collapsing, people living in the Moscow metro, fighting mutants and demons and whatever. Yeah, this Dmitry Glukovsky's story, Metro 2033, based on a real story. And especially its adaptation, its first-person shooter adaptation. Seriously, just look at that watch. Put it on the bond strap and yeah, it's straight from that novel. It's straight out of Moscow 2033 Metro edition, right? Right? Okay, let's go and talk about the watch. Anyway, as with any self-respecting watch YouTuber, my life revolves around knives. I'm guessing it goes to show what kind of mental state watch collectors are in. Mikov, Czech, or more correctly, Czechoslovakian hunting knife. One small Opinel French knife. My girlfriend's pocket knife, which is a Hungarian knife with bone inlays. And the good old Swiss pocket knife. Okay, but let's brush them all off a bit. And let's just go to Vostok Amphibia 420374. It comes in a nice all-plastic black case, which is branded on its top side. I really like this design. You don't get extra bullshit and cushions with this watch. It gives a tool watch vibe to it, as if you were opening a case for a piece of machinery or drill set or whatever. And the dimension of the watch box is small. And I don't think it's bothersome to deposit in a drawer where you keep your socks or, I don't know, anywhere else. Opening the case, we get to marvel this beautiful summer watch. So what you get inside, it's the extra prescription papers, but it's all in Russian, so don't bother. The numbering first stands for case and bezel numbering 420, full 20, full 20, get it? Okay, back to the subject. 420 is the round case with dash and dot bezel markings, and 374 is the dial number. The anti-Cousteau Steve Zissou dial, one of the highlights of this watch, but we will get to it in a bit. I'm just going to show you the other case designs as well, but you can check it out on vostokamphibia.com. Next, it's dimensions. Case size 40 millimeters, lug to lug 46 millimeters, between lugs it's 18 millimeters. Could be a bit small, but overall I think it gives a nice 60s vibe to this watch. Case finishing is polished everywhere. I am guessing they didn't really bother with anything on this case. Everything is polished. Basically, this case is a polished potato, and it's a fingerprint magnet, as you can see on this watch. Case material is stainless steel, although some Commander ski models have chrome-plated brass cases. But this one is solid stainless steel. Side view, this case has an aesthetic saucer shape with a thickness of 15 millimeters. A bit high, but not really noticeable with the current bracelet. First thing that you notice, it's the short lugs, reminiscent of certain instruments, like those military compasses that they wear on the wrist. And also there are no crown guards, only a big unsigned screw down crown. But yeah, in general, case with no crown guards, that's 50s and 60s design. Next one is the bezel. Nothing really to see here. We have coin edge finishing, also hand painted dashes and dots. Yeah, this is a handmade watch. Do you feel special now? But it's handmade out of necessity. Does this count as well? The bezel, it's friction operated, classic Soviet work safety. I think it's safer to memorize the lapse time in your head. I mean, seriously, this is not a safe watch to die with. The bezel can move around if you bang it somewhere while diving, so watch out. Also, the crown is classic screw down crown. Acts as a bottle cap, keeps water out, and its size, in my opinion, is fit for an instrument. Definitely, it's a plus in my opinion. Next one is the Caseback. This solution is genius. Basically, it works as with this over-engineered German jar. With this solution, you can prevent the rubber gasket from shearing. So basically, you have the rubber gasket here, you just put this top side on and you just fasten it with this part. And there is gonna be zero shear acting on the rubber gasket. Also, the case works much better if it's submerged deeper and deeper. Finishing on the Caseback. Oh my, I love it. I mean, it's nothing special, it's just brushed and says Amphibia on the backside, but the way the fonts are designed gives me a flashback of the branding applied on the trunks of Soviet and communist cars, or in general any other car from the 60s and 70s. For me, it's a huge plus. Ta-da! Back to the main part, which is dial number 374. And this is the blue version of the black Amphibia worn by the famous Steve Zissou, the anti-Captain Cousteau, played by Bill Murray in the Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou movie directed by Wes Anderson. And clearly it's what gives it its designation as a summer watch. A navy blue dial encased by a steel chapter ring and with golden printed marine rope running on the edge of the dial. It really sets up the tone. We have a golden ship's wheel, or as they call it, a helm, at 12 o'clock. Symmetry being ensured by the anchor at 6 o'clock. Applied indices polished on two sides. Hope you guys can see it. We have these indices at 1, 5, 7, 9, and 11 o'clock. And the white Arabic numbers at 2, 4, 8, and 10 o'clock. And the smaller set of indices marked with white O and lines starting from the middle of the helm and then going down to the anchor, from the anchor again back to the helm. Inside this circle we can see the Amphibia in Cyrillic and the fonts are in italic. At 3 o'clock we have the date, white background, the black Arabic numbers, nothing special. This is a generic date that we know from other Vostoks as well. But the composition of the dial is a solid one, golden parts, and those parts of the dial which are painted in white. In my opinion, they work in different lighting conditions. As I have seen, there is pretty much no interference between those parts. Some of the parts are more visible, the other parts less, but I think the composition works pretty much. And also we have luminous paint at every hour, save the position at 3 o'clock because of the date window. Date window is simple, the edge of the opening has no extra finishing, as generic Vostok date. And at last at 6 o'clock we can see it's written made in Russia. I think this dial belongs to the better part of dials made by Vostok, especially compared to those shoddy ones, the ones with KGB and other Russian and Soviet military themed dials that I can imagine that they are currently at a huge demand, especially after Russia's military blunders in Ukraine. Anyway, I hope this war will end soon and people will be able to get back their old lives. Crystal is a dome mineral crystal with a huge capacity for scratches, probably as you can see on this example. I've been using this watch for a year now, so there are a lot of battle marks on it. But the crystal is a domed one, plays very well with the lightning. Also, one annoying thing that I often observe that it distorts the number on the dial. In this case, look at, let's say, 8 o'clock, like here. Sometimes it has me thinking that the dial has quality control issues and the numbers were printed on using, warped and twisted pads. A bit annoying, but any optical play is welcome in my opinion. Hands are broad arrow for the hour marker, sword hand for the minute marker, and the red lollipop with a cantilever for the seconds marker, or the second hand. Finishing is crude at best. As you can see, the hour marker is not exactly symmetrical. I mean, the markers are polished, luminous materials, hand applied, which is luxury, am I right? This is a handmade watch, yeah. But typical thing is crudeness, and that's the general rule. And also the lume is nothing special. Next, it's gonna be the bracelet. Originally, Vostoks were known for their shit bracelets. I'll show you one which I got for my Komandyrski, and these bracelets are folded. I mean, every link is hollow. It's just a disaster. I mean, seriously. Okay, it's branded, but it's nasty. It's really nasty. But interestingly, I got a much better one for this watch. Probably Vostok were listening to us after all. Links are solid. Bracelet is of an oyster type. One brushed middle link. And we have polished links on the side. And it's much better than the one from Komandyrski. Clasp is a butterfly clasp with 2 buttons on the side. Nothing special. Gets the job done. So let's unscrew this lovely case back. The watch is powered by an automatic movement, namely Vostok 2416B, which is a 31 jewel movement with hand winding capability. It also has a date display and an interesting quickset feature for a date that seems as a Soviet solution as it gets. So the date flips over, you advance the hour marker until 1 o'clock, and then back to 8 o'clock. After which you advance again the hour marker until 1 o'clock, and you do it as many times as you want to get to the proper date. Another feature of this watch is the wobbly crown, which has the purpose to protect the movement and the crown stem if the watch gets dropped by mistake while handled. This is a feature that I recall a lot of people called out by saying that it fools some new watch owners thinking that their movement is broken. But yeah, it's not a bug, it's a feature. One negative about Vostok watches is an alleged quality control issue regarding the proper lubrication of movements. These movements that are coming out of the factory. There were cases that completely new watches were sent out completely dry of oils. And also I have an issue with my watch that it takes around 2 or 3 minutes of shaking the watch violently until it starts working seamlessly, and after which it runs absolutely without any kind of problems. So I don't really know what's up with this watch. Actually, this is how it feels starting the watch up. Anyway, back to the topic. The price of this watch used to be around $70, but since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, I've seen prices going up, even up until 130 USD. But I hope it goes down if the situation gets solved somehow. So yeah, guys, this was it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like and comment in the comment section if you have anything to add. And see you guys in the next video. Cheers!